Lashley or McIntyre. Samoa Joe got out in 35 seconds, which made no sense. Finn Balor, of course, first eliminated on his team, and the only members that Team Raw lost were the two workhorses, Finn and Ziggler. No disrespect to McIntyre, because he is a workhorse too, but he's also the big guy. And don't even get me started on Bobby Lashley, who just has been crap since he came back to WWE.
Do we love Bobby?
No, we do not. Shane being the last person on the team was just made me roll my eyes.
Well, he's the best wrestler in the world.
Yeah, it still makes me roll my eyes. And not really surprising what the finish was, but nothing to write home about here. Ronda Rousey and Charlotte had an excellent match. The DQ finish did make sense storyline purpose-wise, and also got Charlotte over big time. However, can we stop with the dirt sheet stuff that Charlotte legitimately hurt Ronda and made her bleed from the mouth? No, she didn't. That was very obviously a blood capsule. Go back and watch the clip. Ronda has no blood. Charlotte stomps the chair on her neck. Ronda suddenly has blood. Come on, guys. You've been watching wrestling long enough to know that that was all work. But hey, Charlotte's been getting a lot of heat for becoming the Roman Reigns of the women's division, and she got a ton of heat back, good heat back, with this DQ finish. So
she did it. She did it for the man.
Damn right she did. And as for the Brock Lesnar-Daniel Bryan match, I'm not going to necessarily complain that Lesnar went over, even though, of course, I would have preferred the other way.
Well, I loved seeing people's reactions live. They're like, oh my god, he's just killing him. He's just killing him. He's just killing him. Holy shit, this is the best Brock match since his return!
Yeah. Bryan actually looked great in this match, and he had Lesnar down twice in the crossface, and I legit thought Lesnar was going to tap out. The best part was when they're like, look at Brock's face, it's turning crimson red because of all that air he's losing. I'm like, it's not because of the crossface that his face is that red. But, I gotta say, even in defeat, Daniel Bryan looked awesome and looked like he could hang with Brock, and that's exactly what Bryan needed for this new push as heel champion. And props to AJ Styles for actually pushing to put the belt on Bryan. Because AJ's like, I need more time with my family. Because he's doing that contract renegotiation, and he wants to work the Orton schedule. Hey, I'll do all your TVs and pay-per-views, but limit dates on the live shows, so... I give props to stuff like that. So, Survivor Series was more like a B- C+ show, and then, of course, TakeOver was an A, straight across.
This is whenever Survivor Series wasn't a bad wrestling show. It was just a bad,
bad booking.
Raw winning the entire thing was just
bad. It was just bad booking. It was
matches were good, but
yeah,
the storyline implications and everything.
But let's get to some dryer sheet news and talk about a real highlight of Survivor Series, and that's when Enzo Amore tried to hijack the show. So apparently he snuck into the building with a wig and a hoodie. He had a buddy who helped him get in. It was during the entrances to AOP and the bars match where he basically stood up, revealed himself, and tried to hijack the show, and was tackled by a female security guard, who you might recognize as the female security guard who tried to stop Gronk from getting in the ring with Mojo Rawley.
Yeah.
So, good continuity there. And, of course...
At least she takes her job seriously. Grabbed him from behind and then right around the waist, took him down.
Oh, she took him down. Yeah. Yeah, by the way, don't mess with security guards, because even though some places like Disney are technically written that they're not supposed to touch you, blah, 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 if you do give them a reason to touch you, they will. And they don't fuck around. Because I worked as a security guard, and that was actually my instructions. They're like, don't touch the people don't touch the people if avoided, blah, blah, blah. But...
If
hey,
it becomes a physical altercation, you
if something starts to be physical and you need to protect other people, or or the property of the place that you're guarding, get their asses down. And they said, and if they sue you, you got your backup, all you needed.
And so now he's banned from Staples Center, just straight up, and WWE.
He's trespassed.
Shows they are putting his picture up.
Yeah.
At the entryways at every WWE show now, so that he doesn't get let in.
He is trespassed. So, again, going back to security guard terms, in layman's terms, trespassed means if you show up, that's an automatic go to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. That's automatic go to jail. Once you are trespassed from a place, you out. You done. However, let's give credit where credit is due. As Joey Image pointed out on social media, that Enzo got himself relevant again. Negative attention is still attention, and people are talking about him. And he successfully worked a lot of the boys, because a lot of my indie worker friends could not believe what had happened. And my smart indie worker friends
thought it was a work.
Yeah. My smart indie worker friends understood what was going on. Yeah. So, yeah.
I was just, going through stuff, and all of a sudden I saw 20 Pizza Guy posted a tweet saying, "Hey, I think that's Enzo." And then 5 minutes later, everything what happened. And I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, it does, I saw some people being like, why would he do that? He's going to ruin his chances of ever working there again. And I'm just like, I don't think he's going to work there ever again. I don't think they want him to work there ever again. And then, of course, the other thing came out where they're like, he was acquitted. They should just rehire him. They actually have, 20 reasons why they're never going to rehire him. That was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Go listen to that Simon Gotch shoot interview about just how shitty Enzo is. And that'll tell you why he's never going to work there again.
And then realize how shitty Simon Gotch was, too.
Yeah. Kind of, sort of, yeah. So, yeah, Enzo, credit where credit's due.
Although there are people already not talking about him again. So
yeah.
We're bringing him back up.
We're bringing him back up. All right, the other big news is this Lars Sullivan stuff that's happening. So to kind of give you guys a breakdown, Lars Sullivan started getting main roster vignettes. So it's like, oh, he's gonna get called up, and they're airing on all the shows, so you don't know where he's going just yet. That's how he started the week.
Then midway through the week, it was, oh, not only is he coming up, but he's going to get a monster push.
Yeah. Then it became a monster push. And then, that night, somebody went on an old, bodybuilding forum or something like that and dug up comments where he basically thanked Stephanie for letting him have a spank bank photo. So, basically, he spanks it to Stephanie. And then somebody dug up comments where he was commenting on a Stephanie McMahon interview from 1998 on the Howard Stern show where she talked about how she's never tried anal and stuff like that. So now, of course, there's rumors that the push is halted or the call-up's not going to happen. It's like, are we really is that really how this works? We're going to dig up stuff that happened when the dude was 17? Yeah, I guess that's how it's going to work. So we're going to have to see what happens. If you see another Lars Sullivan promo spot on Raw, then you know that they're not taking it seriously. If you don't see anything and his name is not mentioned at all, well, you know why.
Well, Emelina is going to be showing up soon.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Next week.
Mm-hmm.
Next week.
Remember Emelina?
I remember. Other news mentioned James Ellsworth earlier. So we talked about how he had this. There was talk about how he had this accusation. Some girl, basically, he was sending inappropriate pics and flirting with her, and she was underage. Unfortunately, she was 16 in the United Kingdom, which is legal there. So the authorities are like, "There's nothing we can do for you," because the guy did nothing wrong. So, of course, the knee-jerk reaction was to pull him from a bunch of indie show appearances and stuff like that. But now that details are coming out that he may not actually have done the thing.
Well, he did the thing.
Well, he did the thing, but it wasn't as bad as people want it to be. So,
but it is technically legal there.
So it's not going to be as serious as the indie wrestler situation that I'm familiar with, which I will not talk about on the show because I will not publicize that out of respect to Chio. But as far as Ellsworth goes, it's scummy what he did, but if it's technically legal, then there's only so much I can say about it, you know? I personally wouldn't book him. I'd be like, nah, screw that guy. But, you know, if you're going to book him, book him. Hell, he might actually run with this. Kind of like Nia Jax is doing, so.
Hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband. Because we're raping everybody out here.
Remember?
Remember Antoine Dodson?
Well, speaking of...
obviously...
Obviously. Yeah.
We have a rapist here in Lincoln Park.
Not Lincoln Park, New Jersey. That was like in Alabama, I think.
Everywhere.
Yeah, I think that was Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. My favorite was when something came out, they're like, did you know that guy is gay? I'm like, really? I couldn't tell by his flamboyant movements in the video. Speaking of scummy people, I don't really like to publicize this because it's terrible, but JR took a really nasty fall this weekend, posted a picture of just how bad it was, really black.
His face is just black.
Black, yeah. And Sabu, who presumably does not know how to type, basically called him expletive names that I don't want to repeat on Spotify. Basically, a slang term for a cat and a lady part and a willow. And all that other fun stuff. Yeah, and basically said, I hope he dies.
Well, we'll all die eventually, Chris.
Yes, true, but... Sabu's always been kind of a scumbag, at least as far as stories about him go, and I've never been much of a fan. This just kind of pushes that forward for me. Like I acknowledge his hardcore stuff probably deserves him a eventual Hall of Fame nod when they do the hardcore classes, and I'm okay with that. But I don't think WWE would actually include him if he's this much of an a-hole. I would not include him if he's this much of an a-hole. So I say screw him. Ain't worth it. And you know what? Of all the people's opinions that I'd want to hear about Jim Ross, the great Jim Ross, who probably one of the top 10 people in professional wrestling that I respect immensely. Of all the opinions I'd want to hear, Sabu's would be like third from the bottom. I think the only opinions less than that I'd want to hear would be Vince Russo and Kevin Dunn. So, screw him. Screw Sabu. Don't care. Obviously care enough to discuss it, but yeah. Screw him. Screw him. Alright, not too much other news to cover. Jim Duggan was in the ICU this week. He has been discharged. We wish him the best. Fox, of course, is trying to now make it SmackDown a separate show from Raw, which again goes with the whole more wrestling, less sports entertainment, which SmackDown already kind of is that way, so I'm good with that.
But this is like they want, like previously thoughts were that Fox would want them to end the roster split, but this is kind of like, no, we want the roster split to even be more hardcore.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to accidentally promote another network show.
Yeah, makes sense to me. And then as far as Ronda Rousey's Millennial Man promos, of course, there was some backlash for that, but it was actually Paul Heyman who wrote it. Paul Heyman knows how to write promos that get heat, so stop being mad about stuff.
Even if he disagrees with what he wrote.
Yes. Last big piece of news comes from the Alexa Bliss front. Of course, we've been covering her concussion stuff. And, of course, they're going to administer 2 more concussion tests to her. If she, for some reason, does not pass them, they want to make her the new Raw general manager, which she's already kind of sort of been in that off TV